Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. From the Access Channel 5 studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Channel 5. Continuing the traditions of Senior Report, we are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week, countywide, from 9 to 10 a.m. Join us by calling in live, emailing us, or checking out our social media. And now, from the Channel 5 studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everyone. What a phenomenally beautiful day in Chautauqua County. We're in the studios high up on the hill in Mayville overlooking Lake Chautauqua and all the rest of the lakes in the area. I want to welcome you to Chautauqua Sunrise. This is
Funding is provided by
That's true. We're still working out bugs here, I guess. I want to welcome you to our second show, Chautauqua Sunrise. It's been the spin-off of the Senior Report, in case you're wondering, well, what happened to that? Senior Report is retired, and we've come up with this idea. So I hope you enjoy it. We're already getting some really good reviews, and folks are enjoying the show so far. Are you enjoying your summer? Depends on what day of the week, huh? One day it's summer, the next day it's fall, the next day it's spring. I guess next week is sort of supposed to be kind of like a summery, springy kind of feels. The temperatures are getting down low, but it's good for sleeping. No problem. You don't need to have your AC on much right now. Okay, lots of things going on in Chautauqua County. First of all, I want to welcome those over in Jamestown who are watching the show right now live. I understand our hookups are fixed. I'm not sure if there was chipmunks in the lines eating things up or what happened, but they've got everything fixed and we're back online, and so glad to be able to be part of your day today. Where do I begin? Okay, let's talk about Jamestown for a minute. Today, starting at 11 o'clock, Summer Festival over at St. James Parish. Yours truly and his partner Bill Drello, Doc and Bill, will be playing at 11:30 today till 1 o'clock. And they got entertainment by the hour there for the next 2 days, and the food is out of this world. Now, I got corrected yesterday, by the way, by a good buddy, Chuck Hegarty. Or Charlie Hegarty. He goes by Chuck or Charlie. All right, whatever. He said, it's not the Italian festival, it's the Summer Festival, because they're celebrating all nationalities. What a unique idea. Watch this. Okay, right here, this is me. I'm part Italian, and I'm part Irish. And I don't have a little symbol for Belgium, so I'm actually Belgian as well. But the Summer Festival celebrates nationalities and food and music and all the traditions that we all have brought in with us, with our families over the years. I was thinking about this, and I thought, all my parents are first generation whatever, and I'm second generation Sicilian, second generation Irish, second generation Belgian. And we sometimes forget some of our traditions and customs, whatever it is. And not that we have to be doing them all the time, but isn't it fun to kind of know why we do some of the things we do? There were just little traditions in our household that I never quite understood why we did them, and then find out it was something Irish or something that was brought over when my Sicilian family came over and traveled through New York State and brought some of the foods and ceremonies and traditions and little things that they would do that were just really a lot of fun. So celebrate your nationality. We're all Americans, obviously, but we are from different pieces, and isn't that cool? It makes us so strong that way. Okay, so celebrate your heritage today. St. James Summer Festival starting at 11 o'clock, and they're running through late tonight. Huge tent. It looks like a circus tent. I think it holds like 500 people or something like that. If you're new to the show, folks at Chautauqua Institution, if you got somebody that has a birthday today, somebody that's watching in Jamestown right now, if you have somebody that has an anniversary, folks in Ripley or Sherman or Brockton, Portland, wherever. Hey, Mike, thanks for, by the way, liking us on Facebook, Mike Felsman. Call us, 753-5225, or you can email us, or, watch this, you can Twitter us. This will come up here in a second. I don't know how they do this thing. Look at that. You can Twitter us, and we'll get that message right away. They'll send it over to me, and then we'll announce whatever it is your comment or question is, okay? We used this last week. It worked out pretty good. I just got to remember to look down once in a while and look at the monitor in front of me, all right? But we want those that are shy, that like to use technology, they want to Twitter us. We are ready. We want to send out our condolences to the Burt family. They lost Jean Burt. That would be our famous cameraman, Rainey Burt, and her grandson, Chris, is our famous and very talented IT tech engineer, do-it-all. I can't even explain what he does here, but he makes all the little pieces come together. So it's always sad when we lose a parent, and Jean was 85, and if she was anything like her sons and grandkids, I bet she was a lot of fun. So. Also, breaking news. I don't know if anybody has heard this or not, but I received a message just recently that Doug Neal, if you know Douglas Neal, that's his proper name, Doug Neal, over in Sherman, New York, he's having a birthday today, and I promised that I would not say how old he was whatsoever. It will never come off my lips. I know Doug personally. He's a great guy, and he's having a birthday today, and he's a fellow Mason. He's a Shriner. He's one of those guys that you see driving around in those little cars. And he's also a justice of the peace over in Sherman. So if you're in Sherman, don't speed, don't mess. You'll have to probably show up in front of him. Anyways, the family wanted all of us to make sure that you all knew that today was Doug's birthday. And remember, I didn't tell you. So happy birthday, Doug. Coming up in a little bit, Mayville Library is finishing up their library sale today. It's a great time to get books at a good price, especially some of those books that you couldn't afford the first time around. You probably get them for a fraction of the price that you would have if you had to buy it new. Patterson Library is having their library sale next week on the weekend, and at the same time, over at Easton Hall, the Chautauqua County, Historical Society. There's so much to remember in this show. The Historical Society is having their antique show over at Easton Hall. And from what I'm told, it's phenomenal, and you have a great time. If you're new to the county or if you're old to the county, there is so much going on in this county in the summer especially. I don't have enough time in the show to explain everything, but there's summer festivals. There's music in the parks. There are things going on in Chautauqua, fishing tournaments, all kinds of stuff. But if you want to share that with us, call that number, 753-5225. Let us know what's going on. Don't be shy. We want to know. This program is for all of us to share information and to know what's going on in our own neighborhoods. Okay. Now, last week we had Roy and Karen Harvey on, and I was sitting at home, and I had one of those boing moments where I was sitting going, I think I goofed up. I do this a lot. I was talking to Roy, and he was telling me about his mentor in college, and it was Kurt Vonnegut, who was the author of Slaughterhouse and Five and all that stuff. And I said, wow, let me shake your hand, because I watch him on TV all the time. Well, Kurt's been dead for a long time. I thought he was talking about Eric Von Donigan, who's a sci-fi writer and stuff like that. So if you're watching, Roy, I still shook your hand. I still think it's really cool that you worked with Kurt, but I also like Eric. How funny. Okay, What's this say here? Oh, so far we've been getting lots of positive comments about the show and what we do here. We love to hear from you. Again, if you want to post something on our Facebook over at Chautauqua Sunrise, just Google us or go on Facebook, it pops up. I'd like to hear your comments. Well, hopefully you're enjoying some of the beautiful pictures. Randy, can you pan some of these pictures? I want to talk about this. Last week I didn't get a chance. So take the first shot and we'll talk a little bit about this. Okay, wow, look at the colors in that. Okay. Let's have some fun. If you think you know where this picture was taken, why don't you give us a call and let us know if you know where it is. And maybe next week I'll tell you. How about the second shot here? This one was done by Jeff Zook, and it looks like this. It looks like two heads. Okay, we'll get you out of there real quick. Oh my gosh. Anyways, that's a picture that I don't know where it was taken, but it's a beautiful sunrise picture, or is it a sunset? Okay, how about the one behind me? Hit me. I'll move. There we go. Oh, okay. I don't know if you want to move. There we go. There we go. Okay. Boy, doesn't that look like Chautauqua County? Don't know which lake it is, but if you want to give a call and tell us where you think it is, let me know. Okay, I'm back in frame here. So anyways, thanks to the guys for the beautiful photography and putting together those displays. Throughout the year, we probably will be changing things up as we go along. Okay, coming up here in a minute, we are going to have two ladies that are going to talk to us about something that is really heavy on my mind as far as health and the direction that we are all taking in our lives here in the United States and abroad. And we're going to be talking in great depth about an epidemic here in America. But before we do that, we're going to take a public service announcement, and we'll be right back.
You'd do anything to take care of that spot on your lawn. So why not take care of that spot on your skin? Check your skin for suspicious or changing spots. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out what to look for.
Okay, welcome back. I'm Doc Hamels. If you just joined us, you are watching Chautauqua Sunrise. Now, if you have a question, you can tweet us, you can email us and all that stuff. You can call us and call in. But if you're watching this show during the week and you still have a question, send us a tweet or whatever, or email, and we'll try to answer it for you either by return email or tweet or whatever, or we'll announce it on the show next week, okay? So this program goes on and on and on, and you can also find this on YouTube once it's posted. And let's see if I get this right. You can go to AC5. Oh, the other one, I got you on that one. AC5 at Weebly. No, not that one. We're making Jeff crazy here. Well, anyways, AC5.weebly.com. Okay, Weebly is WEEBLY.com. And all the shows for the studio here at Access 5. Because remember, we're more than just Chautauqua Sunrise. You got Chautauqua People, you got Destination Chautauqua County, you got Cooking with Nick. There's other shows, and you can see those on YouTube if you care to. Okay, enough talking about what's going on with me. I want to welcome to the show Kim Greiner and Patty Ballman. Good morning, ladies. See, are you relaxed now? See how easy this is? You just talk. That's all you got to do. Okay, we are going to be talking about diabetes in the United States. But before we do that, I just want to kind of talk a little bit about yourselves and what brings you to this point in your careers and where you come from. So let's start with Kim, because we already talked about you. We'll talk a little bit more about you. So Kim, good morning.
Good morning.
I know you're from Bemis Point area.
Mm-hmm,
so how did you get involved with this discussion on diabetes? And did you grow up in Chautauqua County? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I did grow up in Chautauqua County. I am a registered dietitian.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a dietitian for over 20 years, believe it or not. And I've worked at Westfield Memorial Hospital for about 13 or 14 years.
Okay.
And as a part of that, I came to deal with a lot of people who have diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just becoming more and more prevalent. So I saw a need, and from that I became a certified diabetes educator, and now I deal mostly with people who have diabetes and try to help them.
So where does a person go to become a registered dietitian? And trainer in diabetes?
College.
Locally, or where do you?
I went to Bowling Green State University in Ohio.
Okay.
Yep. And then I did an internship through Gannon, and then you have to pass a state board examination.
New York State?
It's federal.
Okay.
And then you can become also New York State licensed.
All right. And you've been with the hospital. Okay.
Yep.
And you know this lady, well, let's jump over her for a minute. Patty Ballman. And Patty, your title, we came up with the title. I told him, I said, I've seen like 5 different titles: director, administrator, head bottle washer. I don't know. What's your title?
All
there?
of those things.
Okay.
My official title is the administrator of Westfield Memorial Hospital.
Okay, so I got that right
You
then.
got it right. You got it
Okay.
right. And I've been with Westfield, I was about a year and a half now. I joined Westfield from St. Vincent's, where I've worked there for a long time,
Right.
30 plus years. My background is healthcare. I am a registered nurse.
You are?
I
All
am,
right.
yeah. And then I continued my education and obtained my degree in healthcare administration. I've been in administration for the better part of my career now.
Okay. And were you originally from Erie?
I am, born and raised in Erie.
All right.
I live in Erie, and I have a lovely drive back and forth. It's beautiful, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
It's great.
You didn't seem too excited about the winter months. I
No,
remember
not at
that.
all. This past winter was not good.
Well,
Yeah.
it was a pretty miserable winter.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. Okay, and just for your information, folks, I sit on the board of directors at Westfield Memorial Hospital, and one of the things that we've been talking about is bringing to the show from time to time issues or concerns or topics that you and I are interested in. This topic and the topics that we hope to bring is for everybody. This isn't just for what we would call for an aging population, but this is 5 to 105. The things we're going to be talking about here at Chautauqua Sunrise is going to cover for everybody. So let's jump right into it, guys. All right, diabetes. When I was growing up, I remember having aunts that at that time probably looked really, really old, and I'm probably not much older than me now, but they had white hair, so I guess I'm halfway there. But I remember that diabetes was always sort of like, oh, it happened finally. You're old and now you've got diabetes, and that it was like almost like a curse kind of a thing. And there was all these scary things about losing toes and all this sort of thing, and that's all I ever remember when I was a kid. Now as an adult, I'm hearing all kinds of stuff. You guys gave me more things to read than I possibly can during the show here. So who can give me a background in what diabetes is and what's going on inside of our bodies? How's that?
Well, diabetes, the most prevalent type of diabetes is type 2. We used to call it adult onset, but we know now that it is becoming more prevalent in children and teenagers. But type 2 diabetes affects about 90 to 95%, or accounts for 90-95% of diabetic people. What's happening is normally the pancreas produces insulin, which is a hormone.
Where's your pancreas?
Your pancreas
Is
is
it like in the front, the back, the side, the middle?
the front.
Okay. Oh, it is, really?
It is.
Oh, that explains a few things.
It produces insulin.
Okay.
You use insulin to take sugar out of the blood and put it into the cells where you would use it for energy.
And that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. That is what it's
That's what it's
supposed
supposed to do.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. So when you have diabetes, it's just type 2, you are still producing insulin, it's just not working quite right. So it's not able to take the right amount of sugar out of the blood and put it into the cells. Therefore, you have an accumulation of sugar in the bloodstream. Over time, that can cause complications if it's not taken care of.
All right, so let me back up a little bit. So if your pancreas is not taking care of the sugar in your body, it piles up.
Correct.
All right, why?
Well, with type 2, it can be an insulin resistance where the cells just don't allow that insulin to let the sugar in.
So is there anything that somebody has done to create that problem?
A lot of times it's due to people who are overweight
Okay.
and inactive. So quite often by losing weight and being more active, they can control that. Now with type 1 diabetes, that's a little bit different. There's destruction of those cells that produce insulin, and therefore those people have to take insulin injections.
It can't be controlled by diet or an oral
So
medication.
it's like, this is the way
Yeah.
I was born, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and I think
There is
that-
something you can do about it.
And I think the diabetes that you remember when you looked at your grandmother, a lot of people, a lot of times people get type 1 diabetes early age, young.
Correct. That's usually children typically have, we used to call it juvenile diabetes,
Right, I remember
and it's
that
type
term.
1,
Okay.
right.
So type 1 is more or less hereditary? Is there any connection?
It could be. It's an autoimmune disease. The body attacks the cells that produce insulin, and we really don't know why.
Okay.
It used to be that it was thought of, it was hereditary. You have it in your family history.
Oh, all right.
And there is some correlation.
There
to
is
that.
some.
Connection
Yeah.
there. All right. Because, you know, I when I was an educator, I used to encourage families, if they, well, and we all know this, when you go to the doctor, they want to know your history, but to have a history on file so that as our kids are growing up, we can at least alert them that if they have children, that those children should be cognizant of possible health issues
Sure,
down the
sure,
road.
yes.
All right, so let me see if I'm getting this all right now. So type 1 is something they basically you're born with, but when I said there's nothing you can do about it, you kind of shook your head like, yes, yes you can. So I know insulin, you take shots, but how can you control it a little bit better or make it not worse? How does that work?
Yeah. Well, the management of type 1 and type 2 is pretty much similar.
Okay.
So that would be with diet, exercise, and medication.
Medication. And more than just insulin?
Well, for type 1, it would be insulin.
Okay.
Type 2 could just use diet and exercise. They might benefit from oral medication. And actually, we say everybody with type 2 diabetes, if they live long enough, they will require insulin.
Okay.
So it's good management right from the onset.
Let's take a quick, let me break off for a second, give you guys a chance to catch your breath. Folks, you're watching Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels, and we're with Kim Greiner and Patty Ballman from Westfield Memorial Hospital. I said that without a mistake. I'm getting better at this. And it is live here Saturday morning in Access Cable 5 studios. You can call in at 753-5225, and they're going to flash all this stuff as we're talking here. You can call us, Twitter us, or whatever. Don't be shy. This is a topic that needs to be talked about because I'm going to use the word again, epidemic proportions are going on. And maybe, Patty, you can talk to that because I know you brought a pile of statistics. I want everybody to realize that this is not just old person's disease or really young person's disease. This is something we all got to keep an eye on. So what's going on out there?
Well, you know, great lead off. I think when we think about diabetes, there isn't too many people out there that haven't been touched by the disease, either themselves, family members, friends, acquaintance. In epidemic, I think is a great description. If we look at it from the national level, 29.1 million people have diabetes.
Say it again,
29.1.
So that's like out of 300 million people or whatever we are?
1 in 11.
Really?
1 in 11 people are diagnosed with diabetes. What's even more alarming is there's this pre-diabetes condition, which is an alert that if we don't make changes, we're going to get diabetes. 86 million people are in that pre-diabetes stage.
Wait a minute. 86. And what was the first number? 29?
86 million. 29.1 million.
We're looking at 115 million. So that's 1 in 3 people. 1 in 3 about.
And even more alarming is in that pre-diabetes stage, 9 out of 10 people don't know that. They don't know that they're heading down the path of getting diabetes.
Okay, the purpose of the show is to shed light on this condition. So if we've got that many people that are in this pre-diabetes stage,
yes.
What are they looking for and what should they do to find out?
Well, and I'm going to let our expert talk a little bit about that, but I do want to say that out of that 86 million of pre-diabetes, many of those, a good portion of those, can be prevented from ever progressing to diabetes. And really, that's where professionals like Kim come in. We don't want people to wait until they are diagnosed with diabetes. We want them to start taking action before then, because if 86 more million people are diagnosed with diabetes, it is truly epidemic. And the cost associated with diabetes, when you look at healthcare costs, which are are on the top of everybody's mind. More than $245 billion are associated with the care of diabetes. $245 billion.
I'm sitting here like I'm stunned at the moment.
Yeah, it's
now,
a lot.
if I remember the statistics, this thing has like, I can't even use the word quadrupled, doubled, tripled in the last, 20 years, 30 years? What's causing all that?
Well, lifestyle. Lifestyle is a biggie. And I'd like to even take that locally. You know, when we look at obesity, because obesity is one of those precursors to prediabetes. In Chautauqua County, this is 2014 statistics,
Okay.
28% of the population is considered overweight or obese.
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear this answer. I'm sitting going, oh my God, maybe I'm in the... Define obese. How do
Kim, would you like to talk about how we categorize obese?
It's like the gorilla in the room that nobody wants to know.
Yeah.
What do we mean by obese?
Well, we would look at their BMI, body mass index. It's just a measure of your height and weight. BMI is not a diagnostic tool, and just because you are overweight or obese does not mean that you're going to get diabetes. But if you do have a BMI that's over 25, between 25 and 30, we say that you're overweight, and over 30 is obese. So that means that we need to kind of take a look and see, do you have other risk factors, and then we need to kind of put some prevention into place so that diabetes does not occur in that population.
Okay, so you can be overweight and still be healthy?
Well, just because you're overweight doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to get diabetes, but it's
you're pushing the limits.
definitely a risk factor,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, so now if somebody is a little overweight, maybe, and should they, what do you, so you do your BMI, so now you know you're got to go on a diet and lose some weight and whatever. How do you know if you are pre-diabetic? Is there test for this, blood test, or what's
Yes.
that all about?
Yeah, that's really the only way to diagnose prediabetes is to do a blood test. And if your fasting blood sugar is between 100 and 125, that gives you a diagnosis of prediabetes.
What was that again?
100 to 125.
Okay, that's blood sugar. Okay, that's where you prick yourself and...
That would be a fasting blood sugar from the lab, yes.
The longer one. Okay. We have a tweet coming through here. Let's see what it says here. Okay. Okay. What can you eat and drink once you get diabetes? Okay. So why don't we hold on to that thought for a minute?
Okay.
So maybe it's like what are the foods? But you said taking a blood test. So what about one of those, like, I remember B.B. King saying, he's sitting there with his blues guitar and he says, yeah, watch this, and he just goes like that real quick. And that's a daily...
Yes, that's for people who do have diabetes and they need to check their blood sugar to see how they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
All right. Before we go to find out what foods and things, I got to ask a question, all right?
Okay.
I have two questions, all right? What are the symptoms? So if somebody is like saying, I'm sitting here watching them talk right now and I have these symptoms,
Right.
I should know about
Right.
this.
Yes.
And the other question is, what happens if they don't do anything? Okay, so let's start with symptoms. How's that?
Probably the biggest symptom is increased thirst. So they're constantly thirsty, drinking a lot of fluids, and it doesn't seem to help. They're still thirsty. And then they're frequently
So you eat
running
half a watermelon, that wouldn't count though, right? I like watermelon. Small watermelon.
That's different. That's
Still not
different.
satisfied.
Right, it's that
Yeah.
constant thirst. Okay,
Constantly
so
thirsty, constantly running to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Very, very tired and fatigued. Absolutely no energy. More fatigued than usual.
Okay.
Sometimes they're very hungry because you're not using the food that you're eating properly. Like I said, it was building up in the bloodstream. It's not getting into the cells where you use it for energy. So you tend to be hungry. And sometimes people will actually lose weight initially if their blood sugar is high enough. So it's very important that they let their doctor know that they're feeling these symptoms. Now the other thing is sometimes you don't always recognize those symptoms, because over time the body can adjust to that feeling, that high blood sugar, and you really might not have symptoms, especially if it's
it just becomes natural.
Yeah,
you know,
yes.
This is how I feel.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
I'm just lethargic, or I'm getting old.
Yep.
You know, they cover up a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
So really the best way is to just get annual blood work done.
Okay. Okay. I have a family member that's diabetic. In fact, I have a lot of family members that are diabetic. It's definitely through the family, one side of the family. So every once in a while, I do the old finger prick just to see how I'm doing. But I think last time it was like 90, so I guess that's okay.
That is good.
Good. All right. So what happens if you procrastinate and you say, I'll get to it, it's no big deal, my father had sugar and he never did anything about it. I mean, I mentioned toes being whatever. I mean, what happens to the body, and what will happen in the long run if diabetes is not treated?
Well, over time, that sugar can build up in the blood vessels, and it can damage the blood vessels.
Okay.
Those blood vessels that go to the eyes, the kidneys,
Little veins
the
or
heart.
arteries, all that stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
So it can cause some permanent damage if you don't take care of it right away.
So this is like a buildup of stuff, crystals? Or?
It's just sugar in the blood, and
Okay.
it can affect the circulation and the blood flow.
So it's sort of like what we talk about with cholesterol, where
and
plaque
those tend
builds
to
up.
go hand in hand as
Ooh,
well. So
okay.
anybody who has diabetes is
Generally.
more at risk for heart
This
disease.
is a cheery discussion.
It
But it's a good
opens
discussion. We should.
But-
It really predisposes you to so many other things.
Okay.
I think, as Kim was talking about, it causes narrowing in the blood vessels,
Mm-hmm.
blindness. People who let their diabetes go untreated or don't maintain blood sugars within an
Right.
appropriate
I remember
level.
that now. The
Blindness,
vision was a big issue.
Kidney
Mhm.
failure. Your kidneys start, the small vessels in your kidneys start to deteriorate. Many times, people who have uncontrolled diabetes end up getting on dialysis because their kidneys stop functioning.
Whoa.
As those vessels narrow in our it starts in the lower extremities. That's where you had mentioned amputations. People have a hard time healing, particularly in their feet.
Right. Open wounds
Yes,
and sores and
yes,
things like
because
that.
of that impaired circulation, because of those blood vessels.
Okay.
Pain, a lot
kind
of
of pain?
pain.
What kind of pain?
Vascular pain, very, very hard.
their legs
Oh
and-
yeah,
So-
it's
oh,
tough.
dear.
It is tough. As Kim mentioned, the cholesterol and all these things go hand in hand. People who have diabetes that is uncontrolled are at higher risk for strokes.
Whew.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal.
This is a big deal.
And one statistic, and let's get to the food and all that stuff in a second. One statistic I want to know is what generation does this start at? I know we said it's all ages, but
Yeah.
the type 1's for you can get at birth, but are we seeing this in teenagers or young folks, or
When you
what's
look
going
at
on?
the obesity rates, which again is a big factor predisposing prediabetes, we're seeing obesity in children at very young ages. So that is really setting the tone for a lot of these things moving forward. And if we don't start taking action and educating folks and making sure they have healthy foods to eat and exercise and all those things, we're not going to be able to stop this epidemic.
All right, so
Really.
this can become a lifelong issue for
Oh, yeah.
young kids.
Yeah.
And as parents, grandparents, we really need to step up to the plate and, intercede here. All right, so what do we do? Back to you, Kim.
Well, and I know it sounds like really bad news, but the good news is that we can control it and we can prevent all these complications. And that's really by taking good care of yourself, eating healthy, being very active, taking your medication if you need it, seeing your doctor routinely, getting your blood test, getting your eye exams, having your feet checked. All those things will ensure that you're taking all the right precautions so that these problems don't happen. So we can prevent these complications from happening. Now you mentioned years ago, you thought about your aunts and they had all those problems with their toes, and that doesn't happen as nearly as often as it used to, because people are taking good care of themselves.
Okay. So let's go to our person that tweeted us about what are things that you should be eating and drinking and so forth? I mean, Mike Bloomberg down in New York City was saying, you know, you're not going to sell these big, tall drinks, soft drinks, because he was trying to make a statement here. So I kind of get that. I'm assuming sugar-free types of things. I mean, if your body already is having problems processing sugar, by eating candy and soft drinks is not going to help the matter.
Right.
So what should
Right.
people be thinking about?
Yeah, that's always the question that people have. That's the first thing they ask me is, what can I eat? So, and you know, really the answer is there's nothing that you can't have. It's about how much you're having, how often, what time of the day. It's carbohydrate in foods that breaks down to sugar or glucose in our bloodstream. So it's about having the right amount of carbohydrate spread throughout the day or per meal. And it's really, there's not a one plan fits all. It's an individualized meal plan, and that's what I do with people. I look at their daily routine. I try to work in a meal plan that fits their lifestyle and that helps control their diabetes. And people really find that it's not nearly as difficult as what they thought it would be. But to be more specific, you know, the soda pop has a 20-ounce bottle of regular soda pop could easily have 13 to 16 teaspoons of sugar.
Wait, what? 13 teaspoons?
Right.
1, 2, 3.
Right. So, you know, it's basically flavored water and sugar. So drinking that, and quite often we mention these symptoms when people don't realize that they have diabetes, and I mentioned they're very, very thirsty. They might be drinking all this soda pop because they're so thirsty, not realizing that it's
so
really
what's
making
a good alternative then? I mean, I don't mean to be elementary here, but if somebody is listening right now and saying, "Wow, that's me," what should they start doing? Water.
Water is always the best option. Unsweetened beverages, foods, any food that has carbohydrate is going to increase the blood sugar.
So let's assume we don't know what a carbohydrate. So where do we find the carbohydrates?
Starches, grains,
like
breads,
bread, potatoes,
pasta, rice, cereal.
Italian.
So it's not that they can't have that. It just has to be in controlled amounts, right?
Okay. All right. So let's go to how someone would contact you and what's the process. I mean, this is so important, folks, that you hear all this right now in Chautauqua County. How do we access these services? What's the process? What's the cost? How does this all work? Walk us through. So let's use me for an example. All right, let's just say I've got some of these symptoms. I'm tired. I'm overweight, and I want to find out if I'm diabetic, and if I am, what do I do? So how do I contact you? Is there a phone number? Let's start there, or do we walk in at the hospital? What's the deal?
Well, we can call or fax an order, but the first thing you really want to do, the first step, is to talk to your doctor.
All right, so I go to
you
my
need to
primary
make an
doctor.
appointment. Yes, who will probably order some blood work, and if it comes back positive that you do have diabetes,
And
then
this is that 100 to 125 or above?
that's pre-diabetes.
Oh, that's a pre. So when are you diabetic?
Over 125 for
So
fasting.
126 on up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that would generate a referral from the physician.
Okay.
They can just fax over an order. I contact the individual and set up an appointment. Or that individual, if they already know that they have diabetes, they can still call me. Our phone number is 716-793-2222.
Okay.
And Kim, that's your direct.
That is my direct line. It goes right to my office. And at that point, I can also initiate the referral process from the physician as well.
We can contact the physician. and
All
say
right.
that.
That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
like one-stop shop kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And if you think you're pre-diabetic, can we still go see you?
Well, many insurances do not cover for a diagnosis of prediabetes, which is very unfortunate because that's really where we need to start with prevention.
Right.
But what's really great is that we have a new class starting, starts August 28th, and it's in collaboration with CCHN, and we are offering
CCHN is what?
Chautauqua County Health Network.
Okay. Remember, we don't all know these acronyms.
And it's a year-long class.
Woo.
There are 22 classes in all, and they're free of charge.
Better yet.
If someone
And
has,
where's this held?
It's right at the hospital.
Westfield Memorial Hospital,
And it's in?
Westfield, New York, 189. 189 East Main Street.
Remember, these people don't know. I know this stuff.
Yeah.
All right, it's right in the heart of
Yeah.
Westfield, right across from the, right next door to the school. I mean, if you're looking for something real quick.
And this program, this diabetes prevention program that Kim's speaking about, we are very, very fortunate because it is grant funded, which we don't have to pass any costs on. It's free.
All right,
It's
super.
free, and that is a great thing because I do want to drive home that diabetes isn't a disease that you can go to the doctor and the doctor gives you a prescription
You're all better.
and you take it and you're all better.
this is
It is
lifelong
it's
now.
24/7 self-management, and so the more education you get about this disease, the easier it is for you to live a healthy life.
Okay, so on August 28th, there are free classes at Westfield Memorial Hospital at what time?
3:30. 3:30 to 4:30.
Oh, that's not bad. And you're doing it?
I will be teaching the class. I'll be facilitating the class.
Okay.
It's a group, kind of a
I'll
support.
try to remind folks that
Okay.
throughout the summer. And
Yeah, we can actually put the schedule of,
Sure, that'd
of
be
what the
great.
different offerings are.
Can
each
I
day.
come for like maybe 5 or drop in or drop out type thing?
We
Yeah, because
do,
it's like I go
yeah.
on vacation and stuff
Sure.
like that.
Right. Missing 1 or 2 classes would probably be okay because
But if you're
they
gonna
can
do
be
it,
made
let's
up.
do it right.
Right. It really requires a commitment and dedication to stick out the whole year because what this is it's really a weight loss class and exercise. So we do try to get people to lose 7% of their body weight, which is not a lot, and exercise for a minimum of 150 minutes per week. This is based on the Diabetes Prevention Program, which was a study years ago, and it's an evidence-based program and shows that it can prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes by 58%.
Wow.
But you have to complete all the classes.
You have to commit.
Okay. We got a tweet that says, okay, so I'll give up the soft drinks and the sweet stuff, but I really don't like water. Maybe they got well water and bottled, people just can't afford necessarily buying all this stuff.
Sure.
Juice or no, juice is no good? Or?
Juice has a lot of fructose, which is naturally occurring fruit sugar. So only
that's
4
another-
ounces at a time, yeah.
So take it easy on that.
Flavored water,
Okay.
unsweetened iced tea.
Oh, okay.
There are other
So you
options.
can mix it up. You got those drink flavorings now.
Yeah,
They sell those.
Yeah.
You put it in a glass of
I
water.
don't try it,
Yeah.
but I don't know how they work. Okay, so this is great to know that this is going on. Now, what about green tea?
Green tea is excellent.
Green
Green
tea?
tea's excellent. Is it good for
Excellent.
diabetes?
Unsweetened. It's
Unsweetened.
fine. Yep.
Okay, I just got that message through my
Yeah,
earpiece.
green
You
tea.
see how fast I did that? Okay, green tea's a good thing. Now, some people here might be saying, well, I'm a part-time resident in the county. Is your class doesn't discriminate? You could be from Cleveland or Pittsburgh
Oh,
or wherever.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so and what day of the week is that? I was going to look it up.
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday. So I have no excuse. Okay, I might come. We'll see.
Okay.
All right.
We'd love to have you.
All right. I can use losing 7% of my body
And
mass.
also, Kim had mentioned about the diabetes education offerings that Westfield Memorial Hospital has. We've recently received American Diabetes Association accreditation for our program. And by having that accreditation, almost all of the insurances that people have cover individual education
So that's a big
classes,
deal.
too. That is a
Yes.
big deal, yeah.
So let me go back to what you just said. Individual education.
One-on-one with.
And that's what you were talking about, what you do when they come in,
Right.
you work with their schedule.
Right.
So there's no excuse. You can get the services that you need, and your insurance will pay for it. Or maybe there's a
Yes.
co-payment or something like that. We know that the insurance is constantly changing and that sort of thing. So, well, that's great to know. All right. Now, I got a couple questions here. All right. Low blood sugar. When I was a kid, used to have a tendency to get what I would consider was a hypoglycemic,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to describe what the feeling would be, but it's almost like I was like instantly drained as a kid. And hold on a second, we have a technical advisement. Okay, we're good. Where I would be very, very active, like playing baseball or something, and then later on in the day, it was like it almost like I didn't pass out, but it would be like just a really weird feeling. Am I describing low blood sugar?
It could possibly have been low blood sugar. Some people, if they do have low blood sugar episodes earlier in their life, sometimes that is an indicator that later on they might develop diabetes. I'm not sure if that's, a valid correlation, but from what I hear people say, they do tell me, years ago, maybe just that insulin just isn't working quite right.
Or got a little boop.
Right, and so just, not skipping your meals, eating healthy
Well,
is
probably
the
when I was
best.
a kid, I remember, it's funny that you said that, because I always remember that incident, and I remember having only eaten chicken soup that my grandmother made that day or something like that. So it could very well have been that. Just,
Sure.
I didn't have enough carbs in me. And,
a lot of energy.
I was like 12 years old, and my body's going crazy as a pubescent kid or whatever, and stuff like that.
And you could have also been a little dehydrated, which kind of goes with that, drinking fluids.
Right.
Okay, let's take a quick break here. Once again, you are talking with folks from the Westfield Memorial Hospital, Patty Ballman, administrator, and Kim Greiner, diabetes specialist, registered dietitian. I'm Doc Hamels. If you want to give us a call here at Chautauqua Sunrise, please do. We're getting tweets as I go along, and thank you for the tweets. You can Facebook us. You can do all kinds of things as they're showing you. Also, you can do old technology and just call us at 753-5225. Okay, back to the topic of epidemic diabetes everywhere. And Chautauqua County is no less an issue. The question I have is why? We said people's lifestyles, but why? What are they doing that's creating this epidemic that's causing all this money, all those things?
Well, I'll start,
and you
Kim will add. I think that we live a fast-paced life, and convenience...
What are you guys Wow, I got dizzy watching that one.
And convenience. We have a tendency to be rushed. We're trying to get from one place to the other. We're eating fast food. We're eating processed foods. We're not physically active. We go from work, we get in our cars, we drive home. Our
jobs are changing. We're more sedentary, I guess they call it. We sit more.
Right.
We're not pounding things and lifting things. That's
right. Our whole the way we work in the United States is changing. There's not a lot of factories anymore. It's a lot of technology. People are sitting at desks, they're staring at computers.
Do you remember that song? I can't remember the group. It was in the year 2525, and then it goes the year 35, 30. It's happening, isn't it?
It is
Our bodies are changing. We're becoming thumb pushers. Our bodies are changing because of what we're doing. I don't like the fact that the song is coming true. We got a phone call. You want to take a caller?
Sure.
Okay. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Doc. Good morning, ladies. You were discussing some of the things to look for. I'm really interested in the feet deal. What am I looking for on my feet, my toes, and also the vision, the real blurred vision.
Blurred vision, okay.
My vision's problem started right after I got glasses. I had to go to a big box store this time. I couldn't really go to my regular eye doctor due to insurance, and my vision, it drives me insane. My one doctor said you could get 22 different pairs of glasses, and each one would be different on each day because of the diabetes. But I've got two friends that have lost legs and limbs, from diabetes. What am I looking for?
So are you diabetic?
I was told last time I was a diabetic.
Okay.
After years of telling, and then the next doctor would say no. This doctor did the fingerprint or prick and said I was diabetic. But I guess my biggest concerns are the eyes, and what am I looking for on my feet?
Okay, take it away, ladies.
And I'm going to hang up and let you talk.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you have any questions to follow up, please call back. Okay, so blurred vision and feet, what we talked about. So
well, if your blood sugar is high, you could have blurry vision. So we usually tell people that they should wait until their blood sugar comes back down towards normal before they get glasses.
Oh, so get the insulin, get the medication going before, as it changes.
Stable. Yeah, get stable.
Okay.
Both losing
Or
their
else
voice.
you'll have 22 pairs of glasses. Yeah, you don't.
Depending on the day.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
All right.
And so for the caller out there, it sounds like what you're experiencing is fluctuations in your blood sugar, which really is an alarm, excuse me, that we need to have a little bit more control over your blood sugar. As far as the examination of the feet, there is certainly routines that Kim teaches her patients, and I'll let her explain.
Okay, so what are we looking for?
Well, everyone should be inspecting their feet daily. You're looking for sores or open areas, even a crack in the foot if they're dry. Any opening in the foot could be a root for infection.
Okay.
If you have diabetes, your infections may not heal as quickly or as well. So if there is an infection, that's very critical. You need to get to your doctor right away, get that taken care of, because that can lead to really some serious problems.
Yeah.
And be sure you mention to whomever you're dealing with that you're diabetic.
Yes.
Because they may not know that.
The other thing is that sometimes there might be some nerve damage from the diabetes where you don't have good sensation on the bottom of your feet. So we do recommend that people with diabetes do not go barefoot, because it's possible that they could step on something
never know it.
and not feel it.
my gosh.
And yeah, and believe it or not, that's happened
Okay.
frequently. Bath water, they might not be able to feel that it's too hot. Cold temperatures, they may not feel that their
when you're
toes are
tired,
too cold. So it's just really inspecting your feet daily, cutting your toenails, making sure that you don't nick the sides of the toes and the skin.
Just
because
protecting your toes, period.
Yeah, and a lot of people with diabetes don't risk that, and they will go see a foot specialist and have their nails trimmed appropriately, so they don't get ingrown nails.
Gotcha.
They go to see a podiatrist or their family doctor,
Okay.
and they can do that for
We
you.
have another call.
Okay.
Okay, good morning, caller.
Oh, good morning. This is Linda Spalding.
Linda, good morning.
Good morning. How is everything? Isn't it a beautiful morning?
It is. It's great out.
I'm enjoying the show. It's very interesting. I had a dog that had diabetes.
You had a what?
And a poodle.
Oh, diabetic poodle.
Yeah, he was 17 years old. He was diagnosed with diabetes, and we had to give him insulin twice a day.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, why not? I guess everybody could get it, huh?
So, and interesting things about it, the more he would exercise, the less insulin he would need.
Was he drinking a lot of water?
Oh, before he was diagnosed, yes.
Yeah, same thing.
Wow. So it's really pretty much it. So what's going on?
He had the symptoms that you mentioned.
Wow.
He had like sores that didn't heal and stuff like
wow.
that.
Wow, 17 years with diabetes. That's a long, good life.
Yeah, he lived to be 18.
Oh my gosh. So what's going on these days, Linda?
Well, I wanted to announce that our computer training is going to be starting up next Monday at the Brockton Library.
What time?
Well, it's kind of, somebody will be there at 9, but people come in as they are interested. It's individualized training. There is no set classroom schedule. It's based upon the needs of the individual.
So what would they be learning? Like just general word processing?
Just basic computer training for the beginner. And it's non-threatening. It's one-on-one. There is a peer coach there all the time to direct them online. It's called Generations Online. It was originally funded by our major funding source, Senior Service America, but 2 years ago, because of budget cuts, they were no longer able to fund it. We are having it funded now and through community grants, and we're most grateful for them.
So Linda, if they were there, they could Google all the information they want on diabetes, right?
Oh, you can Google anything.
So that you could learn how to do research online about health situations.
And they're, one of the first things that when the person is ready that they're shown how to do is to set up their own email account. And there's lots of free email accounts with Yahoo and Hotmail. And even if people don't have a computer, there's lots of places where they can access one. The libraries always have computers available for people. Usually they can get on for 1 hour.
Awesome. Okay. What's going on with job coaching?
People are getting jobs. There are openings in the senior aid program, and we've got a waiting list, but we're taking care of people as quickly as we can.
Awesome. We have the information for Linda's program. We usually have some phone numbers we can put up for you. Okay, the Chautauqua County Office for the Aging, it's 716-753-4471. How's that for your commercial?
Well, thank you very much.
Okay,
And
then.
have a great weekend.
Thanks for calling and also sharing about your dog. I mean, we forget about our little four-legged friends. Even cats, I believe, can be diabetic. So good enough.
Yeah, people should watch for that if they're drinking a lot of water, especially if they're older, and if they have the sores, all the symptoms that humans have.
Okay, good enough. Thanks, Lynn. We'll talk to you next time. Linda's with the Office of the Aging and always sharing great information and trainings for folks. And as we discussed last week, even though it's a senior program, it's for anybody like over the age of 40. I mean, you don't have to be a really old senior or anything like that. We got another phone call. What the heck?
Great.
Good morning, caller.
Oh, good morning, Doc. This is Mike from Portland calling in.
Hey, Mike from Portland. How are you?
Good. I don't have any specific questions, but I would say I do take exercise class. In fact, my class was canceled this morning.
Oh gosh.
And well, that's okay. I have it again on Tuesday. I think the exercise helps. I have a little arthritis in my hip, and it certainly helped that. It's actually Zumba.
Oh, okay.
And it's for any age, but it they say exercise helps with blood sugar too, so want to try to keep that down.
Right. Mike, do you have friends or family that have diabetes?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Okay.
I do.
So that's a family concern for all of us, isn't it?
It is yes, it is. I do have that in my family history.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for calling in as always.
All right. Well, enjoy the new... John?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the new show. Sorry about the feedback. And good luck.
Okay. Well, thanks, Mike.
Okay. Bye
It's always
now.
good to hear from you. And see how that was, folks? You can just call in, say hi, share an idea, birthday, anniversary, whatever. Well, we're getting down. I know it seems hard to believe, but we're down to like 3.5 minutes left. So let's keep on plugging along here a little bit. So, Patty, anything that you want to share as far as the hospital goes, and where in the hospital is the program going to take place? How do they get into the hospital?
As I mentioned, the address is 189 East Main Street, Westfield Memorial Hospital. You can call. We do have a brand new diabetes education center that we actually created last year. It is a very state-of-the-art education room. It's either for individuals or groups. A lot of times people bring their family members in so they can learn what to eat, how to prepare meals, how to manage the disease. So it's a great, nice room, very relaxing, private.
How do I get out of my car and get to that if I pull in there?
You pull into the parking lot. You park right in front of the building. No parking lots. There's no charge for parking. Walk right in the front door. Immediately when you walk in, you're going to see some ladies sitting there to greet you.
Always smiling.
Always smiling. Always smiling. They will direct you where you need to go. But the actual diabetes education center is in the second floor of our
It's
hospital.
upstairs. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Just as an aside, real quick, how many people have come through the ER this year?
We are about, annually, we see about 8,000 to 10,000 people walking into our emergency room. This is a very busy time for us with all of the activities going on in the area, Westfield, Chautauqua. So we're seeing quite a few patients, ranging from real emergencies, traumas, to not feeling too well, not sure what to do. We'll help you out.
So the hospital is busy. It's there. It's,
extremely
and real
busy,
quick,
yeah.
Chautauqua Institution has a clinic there that the hospital runs. Where is that in the institution?
That is actually in the main ground, right near the amphitheater.
Okay.
We have a family practice clinic. It operates every single day throughout the season, the Chautauqua Institution season. And that is a very busy clinic. People that live there in the summer, if they have chronic diseases, we're managing them during those 12 weeks. And then we also see people who are just getting sick. We do children's school physicals while we're here, so get them ready back to school. And if those patients do need a higher level of care, we have a very great process of getting them ready to Westfield Memorial Hospital.
Okay, you take a breath because we're done now. Kim, why don't you give them one more time your phone number and how they can get a hold of you if there's any follow-up questions.
Yep, they can call directly, 793-2222. And I just want to remind everyone that we have this diabetes self-management education program. If they're newly diagnosed, I can walk them through it step by step, help them manage their disease. If they've had diabetes for years, they can still come in. Every year they're eligible for follow-up visits, kind of a refresher, get them back on track. And if you have prediabetes, we are starting our weight loss classes. Our diabetes prevention program starts August 28th.
Okay, thanks. I'm Doc Hamels. You've been watching Chautauqua Sunrise. We hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I want to thank the whole crew here at XS5, Randy and Jeff and Chris and Chuck. We'll see you next time. Be well.